Hi everyone, welcome to our Cyber Week online special, Meet the Experts. Dive deep into the conversation with our amazing expert speakers. First, I'd like to introduce Mark Gazit, CEO of ThetaRay, who will be speaking on financial cybercrime in COVID-19. Mark, please.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much for joining for this session. I know that we are part of cybersecurity conference, but actually I'm going to speak with you about money. Or to be more precise, we're going to speak about connection between cybersecurity and financial crime, a phenomenon we call financial cybercrime. Maybe a few words before that about ThetaRay. We are a company that uses very advanced level of AI, artificial intelligence. We actually call it artificial intuition, to help our customers, the largest financial institutions in the world, to use artificial intuition to protect themselves against the most devastating cybersecurity attack that causing loss of money and in many cases money laundering, terrorist funding, human trafficking funding, etc. But let's first spend a few moments talking about the problem. We all know that financial institutions have money, and they use this money to buy the best security solutions in the world. They have great protection systems, have a lot of technology. They collect a lot of data about customers. Actually, they have access to information that many other organizations do not have, such as KYC, know your customer. So they know many things about you that in a way might even invade your privacy, but they have this access. And still, it looks like the level of crime is going up. Banks are losing money, money is being laundered time after time. And the question is why? And the answer is, it's because the world of financial crime has totally changed. Today, if you think about it, it's not about people coming to a branch of a bank and threatening the clerks to shoot them up to take their money. It happens only maybe in Hollywood movies. In reality, it's all in the cyber domain. Today, it's much easier to put a server somewhere in a remote country, to let the server steal only 25 cents from your bank account, but do it hundreds of millions of times. Or let artificial intelligence automatically open tens of thousands of fake accounts, and then to start transfer money between them. And it becomes more and more difficult to catch those guys. And when we talk about stealing money, it's bad. But in many cases, this money actually used for the purpose of money laundering. It's believed that between $2 to almost $4 trillion is money being laundered. And it's used for really devastating stuff, for terrorist funding, for human trafficking, sex slavery, and narco trafficking. And it's all done in the cyber domain. And existing systems that were developed to protect financial institutions don't do the job anymore because they're all looking for something that they know. They're all based on rules, thresholds, models, signatures. That was good for the past. But now, when bad guys are connected instantly and they can change the attack methods every second, you need to look, or our customers need to look for unknown unknowns, because we all know that in reality, the attack or the real threat comes from the place that we do not expect it. And people talk a lot about AI, artificial intelligence. For example, there are neural networks. Now you can train those systems. So you can show neural network picture of 1 million or 1 million pictures of a butterfly, and then the system will identify all the butterflies in the world. But if you suddenly show the system a snake or a scorpion, the system will miss it because nobody told the system how snakes looks like. Now, if the snake represents an attack or money laundering event, the systems will miss it. Now, banks, of course, cannot afford themselves to be victims of cybersecurity, so they will use what they call anomaly detection. Show me everything that doesn't look right. But then, of course, the level of false alarms is huge, and it's very difficult to catch it. And regulators all around the world understand it. They push more and more regulations. And the way we solve the problem, and of course, this is not about ThetaRay, is a software that has been installed on customer premises that analyzes the data and then automatically identifies the threats and present it to the customer. And of course, it should be done in a very intuitive way. So let me tell you a few words about the ways to fight this new wave of unexpected, unknown, or previously unknown attacks. Now, here we bring to this new world of cybersecurity and financial crime artificial intuition. For us human beings, it's very easy to exercise our common sense. We know what gut feelings is. It's very easy for us human beings to identify threats. Evolution trained us for that. For example, if you send a kid to a new school, your kid very fast will know who are good guys, who are bad guys. You drive a car, suddenly you hear weird noise, you know that something is wrong with your car. You go in the jungle, you see something orange with black stripes, you run away. You know it's a tiger. Computers couldn't do it. Couldn't do it in the past. Now they can do it. They can mimic the way our brain deals with unknown situations, and this is basically connecting the dots. And it was developed by two distinguished professors, Professor Koifman from Yale, recipient of Golden Medal of Science from President Clinton, and Professor Averbuch, now in Tel Aviv University, so it's very much connected. Before that, Columbia University, and 10 years in T.J. Watson Center of Excellence of IBM. They both developed a technology that mimics human intuition and allows computers to go through the same process very experienced human investigators will go and do it automatically. And just a few examples. Money laundering, in this case, it was done in the world of cybersecurity. It was money that was laundered to finance human trafficking. And not only the system reduced the level of false alarms significantly, but we found something very interesting. When we use artificial intuition in this new world of financial cybercrime, the system not only identified the problem, but it identifies the problem on average 70 days before the actual attempt to conduct a crime and withdraw the money from a bank happens. Another example, which becomes more and more popular during COVID-19, I will talk more about it, is correspondent banking. And in this case, artificial intelligence managed to identify 1% of international payments, which becomes a very big issue, and especially now, especially during COVID-19 times. And maybe I will zoom into this specific area because I think that becomes one of the most intriguing and dangerous areas in this new days of COVID-19. Correspondent banking is a beautiful, sophisticated name for what people call cross-border transactions, international payments. Now, before COVID-19, there were alternatives. So bad guys, if they wanted to finance terrorist organizations, that could put some diamonds in the suitcase, go through customs, and then sell those diamonds. Today, they cannot do it. They cannot travel. So bad guys have to use banking system to transfer money. And the banking system now suffers. People are at home. You cannot physically identify your customers because you can't tell somebody from Israel opening a bank in Switzerland, please come to Geneva and just identify yourself. You have to do it over cyber domain. And so now in many cases, there are money transfers without any ability to identify the other party. So you make a transfer from Israel to somebody in the Middle East or in Europe or in the United States. How do you know who the person is? By the way, this problem of correspondent banking is not new. It's a very difficult exercise to solve because it always involves another customer which doesn't belong to a bank, that you are what they call originating the transaction, and there is a lack of ability to identify that customer. So we can see the left side that the number of transactions, cross-border transactions, went up significantly, but number of banks that could do it actually went down because it was a very risky business, and banks went through a process of de-risking. Now, during COVID-19, they don't have any choice. People would like to transfer money. Banks need to provide this solution. By the way, it's a very profitable solution. So there is a need for a new solution. And of course, we at ThetaRay use artificial intuition to provide solution to those organizations, to allow them to use artificial intuition to identify dangerous endpoints, eliminate human trafficking, eliminate terrorist funding. And this world of cybersecurity crime affects not only your bank or other banks, but it's also very important to allow relationship and trust between banks. Because how during COVID-19 time, banks can build this trust relationship when they can't even physically meet each other. And of course, it becomes more and more of a risk protection or trust platform where artificial intuition and artificial intelligence will help human beings to identify the entities and to build another much more stronger ring. And of course, people who are using this technology are banks, are regulators, and even customers, you and I, consumers enjoy because it allows us to transfer money much faster. Of course, the system is already working. You can go to the internet and see what Bank Santander said about it. And maybe before finishing, just one case out of many that we found. And again, when you think about cybersecurity, you think about viruses, you think about denial of service attacks, maybe you think about ransomware, but this is an occasion of child trafficking that was financed using digital transactions and remote connection to banking systems. Luckily, we helped this bank to identify this ring of human traffickers and catch them and eliminate and save lives of thousands of girls. So just to summarize, in this new world of financial cybercrime and advanced cybersecurity attacks, there is more and more of a need of artificial intelligence, artificial intuition. It allows for unmatched detection, industry low false positives, and it's always up to date because the system teaches itself. And of course, during COVID-19, it's even more important because other alternatives do not exist. People are working from home. They cannot physically come and identify themselves. So you really need the help of machines to make us a safer world. And, I can summarize by talking about the fact that it's a real need and innovative technology solve this need. But I would like to say something else. People often ask me, is it dangerous? Like you take the new world of cyber that nobody knows and now starts to discover what it is. And of course, Israel is in the forefront of this technology. You combine it with the world of digital banking that is new, and then you throw in artificial intelligence or even artificial intuition, which actually let computers to be almost as smart as human beings. Isn't it dangerous? Can it be that computers will start attacking us? And my answer is that every new technology always brings those fears. I was looking at the history, and I found that when press was invented, people said, that's it. That's the end of human memory. Everything is written. When telephone was created, people said, that's it. We will not be able to visit each other. We don't need to visit each other. We can just make a phone call. When cars were created, some people said it will ruin the family unit as we know it. And there are some cultures, Heimish, for example, that will not allow to drive a car, so people will not go far away from their home. I had the pleasure to build one of the first, actually the first Israeli internet service provider. And everybody told us, look, you don't understand it. It will totally change the way your kids communicate with each other and will not be able to understand our kids. Now, it's all true. And we all know that all new technology brings some threats and some fears. But the advantages are enormous. And I have to say that in this new world of financial crime and financial cybercrime, we don't have any choice because bad guys have been using artificial intelligence. They're using it to hurt us, the good guys. And that's why I believe that we have an obligation to take those machines, to train them, to make those machines and breed them to be our digital guards. And I'm really privileged to be in a company that is growing, that is helping financial institutions, but mainly making this new world of financial cybercrime and connected machines much, much safer world. Thank you very much.